Good morning, everyone. I finished my series. I finished the pad. It's so funny because when I found this pad, it had 20 pages in it, and 19 of them are the fruit paintings, and I'm going to continue with that and start doing some other things too. But I was so excited. Then as I was halfway through, I felt like, oh God, when am I going to be done with this? And then when I got to the last few pages, I thought, oh my God, I'm down to the last 2 pages. I don't want to mess up. Oh, what will I do afterwards? Oh, wow. And it was exciting to finish it, but I did like that continuity of knowing I'm going to get to this size paper, and I can order it again. Even though sometimes I complained about this paper, but I don't know, is that human nature? I don't know. So this is the paper. And I went through my flat file drawers, which is my office, hear me, found more of the same paper. I'm not going to use that. I found lots of odds and ends. Some paper I cut out. This is 4x6. And I found this, so I'm going through all the paper I have here. That's my goal, to use up the supplies in my home studio. So this is Carson watercolor postcard paper. It is 5x7. It has the postcard on the back. I'll be working with that. I have this paper here, and I think it may be arches. I cut it up and I didn't label it. I want to paint. I bought blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, and I started that series. But these little guys, they were just like sitting on my counter. And today's a really busy day. So I think I just want to draw this. And I'm going to use this 4x6. I'll sketch it out and see where it goes. And I think I'll revisit the blackberries tomorrow. Now, with the square paper, you never had to think about, I didn't have to think about how it, well, you don't, the composition, because it's square. It's square, so it doesn't matter which way you hold the page, right? So will I hold it this way, even though it just kind of, now I'm thinking maybe I will hold it vertically. Maybe it's speaking to me. Maybe that would be a good challenge. But no, I just kind of picked this all on purpose. I just saw this. I'm going to hold, you know, one of the first decisions, or up there with what will you paint, is composition, and of course that's how you're going to hold the paper. So right now I'm going with the horizontal, and I will sketch that out. Okay, I have my pencil here, I have my coffee, and I'm going to get started. I'm going to turn on the sad lamp and adjust the lights a little bit. Okay, so give me a second, I'll be right back. I don't want to get too fussy with this, just kind of lay it out. Sorry to make me think of summer. Not that I have a garden, but vegetable gardens. This little one here looks like a little sea urchin. Put the lime on the coconut and shake it all up. Coconut is wonderful. I'll never forget being totally exhausted. I was with my husband in Puerto Rico, and we went through the rainforest, and they had the stands, you know, that have been there, you know, they're family owned and they've been there forever, like just in the center. And they had these fresh coconuts and, you know, different food. We drank it, and then they cut it open and eat inside. It was so restorative. I don't have any coconuts to have and paint here. I don't know if they'll show up in the store. We got a delivery yesterday, so, and sometimes we make a run to the store, but I like to avoid that. Fortunate, thank you for all the essential workers that package and make deliveries. Truly appreciate. I have my paper towel here. Try not to be wasteful, so you know, it just has a little bit of paint on this one. I found some ultramarine, it's Rembrandt. I used different brands because I had nothing left. I found some of my paints in a box, and I found some oils and acrylics, so I think I will be sorting through those and see what I can do with them while I'm at home. So I'm putting in some darker color. I'm putting down the red. Sometimes I'll use another color where I see that there's more shadow, where it will be a little darker. So I'll give that a chance to dry a little bit. I'm not going to let it fully dry, but it'll just make it that much darker. When I go back to it, you could also use like a little bit of green or blue, even though tomatoes are red for the shadow. You can use a little bit of cobalt or cerulean, or the ultramarine works nicely since I put more on my palette there. Also nice in the green. If you want, just for example, I'm not going to use it here, but if you use ultramarine when you're working with brown, painting trees, it'll darken it up for you. Could use it with a burnt umber. Someone asked me this, and I'm gonna go over it in this video. When I'm painting with watercolor, I do go straight into the well and put it on the page. I'm not mixing, even though you see I do have a mixing area here. So I do go straight, sometimes to the water, and then to paint. When I'm working in oil or acrylic, I'm mixing. I rarely use paint straight from the tube when I'm doing that. So I'll be mixing and preparing my palette and then painting. Watercolor's a little different. Then use my little trusty water bottle. I always refer to this as the father in my big fat Greek wedding when he uses Windex. He says, Windex sells everything. I just have, that's my little bottle. It says Art Mind spray bottle, so don't spray your paper. I do, when I do my very, very big watercolors, I just get it ready, then I let it dry. And some people actually, when they have very good 300-pound Arches paper or a different brand, I know people who will actually soak the paper, let it dry to get the sizing out. That's what kind of keeps it stiff and preserved, and then they'll paint on it. I don't do that. I've never done that. That's a whole big process. The one thing about the 5x7, if you're working with that paper, it's standard. So all of the 6x6 paper, that wasn't a standard frame. So I was very happy to find a framer. I mean, there are ways around that. The way you mat something, you have like a longer part of the mat on the bottom instead of making it even all the way around. And then so you could use a rectangular frame, but just something to consider. Sometimes it's helpful to use standard sizes. Standard sizes in Italy and Europe are different than in America. Not sure, well, in the US, I'm not sure what they use in Canada, but something to consider when you're designing work, a show or need to get something framed. So glad I got my ultramarine blue. Putting it down darker than the fabric is, but I'm just loving this color. Ultramarine is beautiful. It's deep and rich. It's also a little more translucent than certain colors. I was looking for food, but the water helps, and the cucumber, I like the lime in my water, but really the cucumber is really refreshing. And I love tea. I love chamomile tea, so it's like warm. Sometimes you want something else, but it's warm and refreshing, and you could like kind of hold the cup. And I'll tell you the truth, I love Dunkin' Donuts chamomile tea. You could buy it. You know, you could buy it, you know, in boxes. It's the best. I love Celestial seasoning too, but I'll tell you, the Dunkin' Donuts, it comes in like this little silk bag, and not just because of that, the flavor is so incredible. I mean, I love their coffee, and I have the packets because I'm drinking that from home now, at my husband's store. They're open, and they're by the hospital, so I know that the hospital workers are happy and that they're opened. And I'm done, and I'm glad I painted my tomatoes today. So, here's my tomatoes. I used a lot of primaries in this. There we go. So that's my morning painting. Stay home, stay at home, stay safe, and we'll get through this one day at a time. I'll see you next time. Take care.